All right, welcome back. I'm officially no longer keeping track of what part of the build series this is because technically the build is done. So now we're in the testing phase. So left off the last video, the truck was running, got the new exhaust built for it, temporary exhaust built for it, and the brakes were not good. I did some playing around, put a proportioning valve in it, and just wasn't working. So consulting with some friends of mine that are smarter than me, decided to make some changes to it. And what I ended up doing was I did a master cylinder swap. Because the rear calipers on this are so big, they are front calipers for a GM, like a Chevy Caprice, Monte Carlo, whatever they call that. So they're big. They take a lot of fluid. So what I ended up doing was I put a mid-90s F250 four-wheel drive master cylinder on this. I went from a 15/16 bore to an 1.25 inches. Put that on. I also reinstalled the vacuum pump to help assist it. Kind of rerouted some of the vacuum lines for it. And I'm happy to report the brakes are phenomenal. I've never had an off-road truck that had brakes like this. And this is what I wanted from the beginning. The rear disc, the big calipers. I mean, it's got 12-inch discs, front and rear. Should be a pretty good braking system. Well, now it finally does what it's supposed to do. So let's pop the hood and I'll show you just how that turned out anyway. All right, so under the hood, there is the F250 master cylinder. The brake ports ended up being on the opposite side. And not only are they on the opposite side, but the front and rear are backwards compared to the Ranger master cylinder is on it. So the rear brakes, they have a built-in proportioning valve. That's that big fitting you see on that back brake line. And the front brakes are on the frontmost fitting. So the little plug on top is just something that's not used. So I just had to reconfigure, make a couple little brake lines, and everything was good. I had to readjust that push rod length again because now the way I had the push rod length set, it was way too short for this setup. So that's fixed. And then I went ahead and I added back in the vacuum pump. It's got the vacuum pump. It's got a one-way check valve here. Goes into the vacuum canister, which has its own one-way check valve. Then, of course, the brake booster does as well. There you can see the brake pressure switch, and it works great. Right now I have the rear, the adjustable proportioning valve. I got it wide open, so all four corners are getting the same braking pressure. I'm going to leave it like that until I get it off-road and see what they do in the dirt. I guess that's my main concern. If the rears are locking up before the fronts, and I can go ahead and balance that out. So, but for now, very happy. I ended up taking it for a test drive last night. First drive on the street. Went down to the gas station, filled it up with fuel. Took it the long way home around the block. It's got about 6 miles on it now. And it drove pretty good. I'm pretty impressed. The motor, good. Transmission, I love it. The front end, I got to check the alignment. It wanders a little bit, but the steering is tight. So that was my main concern. So the steering feels good. It's just wandering, kind of following the crown in the road. And happy to report the rear articulating AFCO bushings in my leaf springs, so far, best I can tell, did not cause any kind of weird handling characteristics on the street. The truck does have crazy body roll. I put the dual shocks back on the front. These are the James Duff MS 2020s made by Eibach. I only had one per corner originally. I put the second pair on, and it definitely rides better. The front definitely doesn't roll as bad, but it's going to need a sway bar for sure. About ready to one of the main reasons I need to weigh this, I need to know what the weights are on the truck. And once I know the weights, the percentages, then I can call probably TK1 Racing or Rock Jock. I'm not sure yet. Maybe I'll call them both. But see what they recommend as far as a rear sway bar setup. I got to get some measurements of the frame rails. And then also I need to call AccuTune. And now that I know the rear weight, and find out if the valving in these rear shocks is going to be suitable, since they were originally ordered for a four-door Jeep JK. I don't know what the weight differences are, if they're even much different, or they could be drastically different. I don't know. That might play into how these shocks were set up. So I want to call them and just see what they think, and if they need to go back and get revalved, then that's what I'll do. All right, so truck is sitting on the scales. Like I said, it's a full weight, full tank of gas. The only thing not on the truck is on my little deck there. I don't have my little coolers, but what do those weigh? They're just plastic. So truck is sitting here. Like I said, my goal was, with me in it, to keep it under 5,000 pounds. I was kind of guessing the truck itself would come in around 4750 was kind of my guess. So got the scales. Let's go ahead, turn it on. Whoops. Turn it on. There it is. Total weight, 4640. It was showing 4639 earlier. I don't know. I guess maybe it's sweating. Front to rear percentages is like 60-40. So it's a little bit nose heavy. It's about 600 pounds heavier on the nose, which I guess for an off-road truck isn't horrible, you know. I'm going to be adding a rear anti-rock, anti-sway bar in the back to help combat some of this body roll. So I don't know how much that weighs, maybe another, God, I don't know, 60, 75 pounds or something maybe. It's mostly aluminum. So that'll add just a little bit more weight. It'll add it in the right place in the rear, so that'll help the percentages. And the roto pack is empty. I can fill that up. That'll be like another 20 pounds, literally at the most rear port or rear spot of the truck. So that would help balance it out a little more also. So all in all, I'm very happy. It's actually lighter than what I thought, and I can't believe it's that close. Within a couple 100 pounds of what the Bronco 2 was. That's crazy to me, but that's freaking awesome. So success there. So now get this thing off the scales, and we're gonna get it outside, and we are going to throw it on the RTI ramp, start flexing this thing out. Yeah. All right, so now that I got the weight of the truck, that confirms that I met my goal. The goal of this build was to hopefully keep it under 5,000 pounds. And the reasoning is I had numerous people ask me about why I would go through all the trouble of building a truck like this from scratch and not put it on 1 tons. The primary reason why I did not was because if the truck was any wider than it is with these axles, it wouldn't fit in our toy hauler, and I'm not having that. But the other reason is I want to keep the truck light. I've been trying to be conscious about weight with this whole build, trying to keep everything as balanced as I can, with the mindset that it's only on half-ton axles, Dana 44, a Ford 9-inch, although they have the best of the best components inside of them. I don't feel a sub 5,000 pound vehicle needs 1-ton axles. So if I can meet that goal, then all the better. Then I see no problems with these axles, living a safe, happy life. And now that I know what the weight is of the truck, it actually came in lighter than I was expecting. It's barely any heavier than the Bronco 2 was. I'm pretty happy, and I'm pretty confident that these axles are going to be just fine. And I don't know that I'll ever go step up to 40s. I mean, I got the 39s. We'll just see when the day comes and I need tires and what the availability is. We'll decide what I end up buying. So anyway, very happy. But this is why I did not do 1-ton axles in this truck, because it doesn't need it. It's light enough, and just putting 1-ton axles underneath this would have, it probably would have made the truck over 5,000 pounds, just by having to run those bigger axles. And the fact that I'm on 39s, I would actually have less ground clearance underneath the differentials with 1-ton. So I think I've got a really good combo to be a really good all around, just kind of do everything good wheeler. Not going to be the best at any one thing, but I think it's going to do really good at a lot of stuff. So that is the logic behind all of that anyway. So anyway, it's done. It's weighed. Let's get it outside. We're going to get it on the RTI ramp. We're going to flex it out. I need to check the rear on placement for some rear bump stops, and then the limit straps too. So we're going to address that today as well. And who knows, we may maybe we'll take a little lap around the block and get some video of that, and see how she goes down the road. So let's get at it. All right. As soon as I get my lovely assistant out here, we're going to go ahead and get the truck up on the ramp. We're going to check the clearance on the passenger front first. I already know the driver's side front is going to be limited because of my Y pipe. It's going to hit the axle. But we'll go ahead and we'll check the front, then we'll spin it around and we'll check the rear. And when I do the rear is when I will measure for bump stops and figure out where my limit straps are going to go. Straight. Yep. This way a little bit. Okay. This way. Coming. This way a little bit. Yep. Coming. Keep coming. Hold it right there. Oh, it can come more. Come more, a little bit more. Okay. Go ahead, put it in park. Okay. I'm going to have you turn the steering wheel after I look at some stuff. Turn the steering wheel to the driver's side slowly. A little faster. Keep going. Keep going, keep going. Dang, just clears the fender. Okay, take it back the other way. Keep going, keep going. Keep going. Okay, hold it. That's full lock. Damn, perfect. Okay, straighten it back out and then turn it off. You can get out. Right there, good. You can go ahead and kill it. All right, this looks good. We got plenty of clearance on the fenders, front and the back. The shocks I'm looking at, there is maybe 3/4 of an inch left of up travel on this corner here. All the steering clearances, a ram, everything looked like it was clear in the diff cover. Everything's good there. So now we'll go ahead. We'll take. There it is. That's better. We got it up the ramp, 144 inches. I don't know. I got to calculate what that score is. I'll insert that probably above somewhere. But that is fully flexed out. Everything looks good. Steering's good. Front drive shaft's good. Fender clearance is good. Everything looks good under there. Yep, we are almost all the way up the ramp. Ain't got much more that it could possibly go. The rear, you can see the articulating leaf spring bushings are doing their job. Looks like that's about it. So it's stuffed in the front and it's stuffed in this corner. So that's as much as it can go. All right, I'm happy. We're going to get it down and turn it around. Okay, so seen it outside on the ramp. We've seen it all flexed out. I got all my clearances checked for everything. I just had to do a little bit of trimming on the core support to make some clearance when the tires are lock to lock. She's all good. I did find one issue where I looked underneath the truck and I found that the vent tube for the doubler was full of oil. Somehow it was pushing oil up out of the vent tube into that vent line. So I talked to Northwest Fab right away. They knew exactly what was going on and how to fix it. So I just had to make a quick little second connection from the drain plug. I had to take out the pipe plug, put in another 90-degree barb, and then connect a hose with a T back to the lowest part of that vent line. So any fluid that makes its way up into that vent line will just ultimately drain right back into the crankcase of the doubler box. So no big deal. So anyway, want to go for a ride? Got about 26 miles on it so far. Everything's going good. I still haven't done any computer tuning on it whatsoever as far as the startup. Going down the road, it seems to be fine. It'll correct itself enough to go down the road fine. But yeah, definitely got to work on the cold cranking. So we'll get to that another time. But for now, anyway, let's jump in it. Let's go for a quick cruise and show you how the transmission and everything else is working in there. So let's hit it. All right. Here we are in the truck. I'm going to go ahead, get the belts on first. Actually, really do like these 4 points. They're not the big hassle that I thought they would be. Everything's pretty comfortable. So go ahead and we will fire it up now. Like I said, cold start. Still haven't worked on none of that yet. Give it a prime. Not too bad, right? All right, going back her out. And let my lovely assistant load up here, and then we'll hit the road and do some talking about what's going on here. All right, here we go. I have my lovely assistant with us now. Finally, we're gonna go ahead and hit the road. Take a lap. Still haven't got the steering completely lined up yet, so my steering wheel's off center a little bit. That's not nothing too bad. So the transmission C4 is completely full manual and reverse pattern. So I really like this shifter. If I take off, leave in first, it'll take off in first. If I want to put it in second, it'll take off in second. Same with third. So it's a very, very cool setup. I like it. So here we go. On the road. Here's first. Second. And third. There you go. 45 mile an hour. And reverse pattern. So I really like this shifter. If I take off, leave in first, it'll take off in first. If I want to put it in second, it'll take off in second. Same with third. So it's a very, very cool setup. I like it. So here we go. On the road. Here's first. Second. And third. There you go. 45 mile an hour. All right, so truck's got 28 miles on it so far. The ride's very nice. I'm very happy with it so far. I was thinking I might send the rear Fox shocks back and get them revalved, but I might not have to. Body roll going around the corners, pretty excessive. I do have a TK1 anti-roll bar coming. Alright, so trans being full manual, you also got to downshift it. Here we go, we got the green arrow. So let's get this corner, second gear. Sounds really good too.
I feel like it's like I'm falling out.
No. So like I said earlier in the video, the brakes now are absolutely phenomenal. I've never had an off-road truck that had brakes this good. That's a big bonus. So I have the Raspberry Pi running, showing all the engine vitals. You can see the engine temp, RPM, you can see throttle position, timing, all that stuff. I can do all my tuning from there. I love having that in here. So I have the Raspberry Pi running, showing all the engine vitals. You can see the engine temp, RPM, you can see throttle position, timing, all that stuff. I can do all my tuning from there. I love having that in here. It's a nice little piece. All right, we're back home in the garage. That concludes today's test drive, and we now have 37 miles on it. All right, let's wrap this up. All right, there we go. We made it back safe. Truck drives great, other than, a few little things I got to dial in the steering, get the steering wheel straight. I got to check the toe. I think the toe's off. The way it wanders a little bit kind of grabs the ruts in the road. So the ride's good, the transmission's good. Very happy. So we're going to call it a success. Going to end this video off here. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. If you're a subscriber, thank you very much. And we'll catch you on the next video. I don't know what it's going to be. Who knows? It might be actually off-roading this thing. I don't know. So whatever it is, we'll see you then. Thanks. Bye.